And the winner is Marlon Brando, the Godfather. The envelope opened, the name read. Applause filled the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Cameras panned across the audience, stars standing, clapping. The biggest film of the year. The performance everyone had talked about for months. Marlon Brando's return to dominance. But Brando wasn't there. A woman walked onto the stage, Native American dress, long black hair, calm expression. The audience kept clapping. They assumed she was accepting on his behalf. A sister, maybe, a friend, someone he'd sent to collect the award while he stayed home. She reached the microphone, held up her hand. "Hello, my name is Sacheen Littlefeather. I'm Apache, and I'm president of the National Native American Affirmative Image Committee." The applause died. Confusion rippled through the room. This wasn't an acceptance speech. "I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening," she said. Her voice was steady, clear. "And he has asked me to tell you that he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award." The room went completely silent. Then the boos started. 3 months earlier, Marlon Brando sat in his Los Angeles home watching the Academy announce the Oscar nominations. The Godfather had swept picture, director, screenplay, actor. The industry was celebrating the film, calling it a masterpiece, a cultural phenomenon. Brando watched the coverage with something other than satisfaction. He saw Hollywood congratulating itself, celebrating art, while completely ignoring what was happening 2,000 miles away. At Wounded Knee, South Dakota, members of the American Indian movement had occupied the town, a protest against government treatment of Native Americans, against broken treaties, against centuries of violence and erasure. The standoff had begun in late February, armed federal agents surrounding the protesters, tension building daily. Hollywood wasn't talking about it. The news covered it briefly, then moved on. The same industry that had spent 70 years making westerns where Native Americans were props, villains, obstacles to manifest destiny, that industry was now celebrating itself while ignoring a real crisis involving real Native people. Brando saw the contradiction, and he saw an opportunity. The Godfather had made him powerful again, after years of difficult films, commercial failures, a reputation for being impossible to work with. The Godfather had reminded everyone why Marlon Brando mattered. He was at the peak, untouchable, which meant he could do something no one else would dare. He didn't want to make a statement. He wanted them to sit through one, live, on television, with no escape. He wasn't looking for applause from activists. He wanted Hollywood trapped in their own ceremony, forced to broadcast their discomfort to 80 million people. This wasn't passion. This was calculation. He started writing, not an acceptance speech, a refusal, a detailed accounting of Hollywood's sins against Native Americans, the stereotypes, the erasure, the violence depicted as heroic, the authentic stories never told. 15 pages, single-spaced. Everything he wanted to say. He knew the Academy would never let someone read 15 pages on live television. He'd have to condense it, but the full statement would go to the press afterward. The ceremony would be the spark. The press would be the fire. He didn't want applause. He wanted them trapped. He needed someone to deliver it, someone whose presence would reinforce the message. He reached out to Sacheen Littlefeather, an activist, Apache and Yaqui heritage, president of the National Native American Affirmative Image Committee, someone who'd been fighting for Native representation in media for years. He explained what he wanted to do, the risk involved, the backlash that would come. She didn't hesitate. Someone needs to say it. They worked on the condensed version together. 60 seconds, maybe 90 if the Academy let it run. Every word chosen for maximum impact, clear, direct, impossible to misunderstand. Brando told almost no one about the plan, not his agent, not the studio, certainly not the Academy.
The power of the moment depended on surprise. If they knew it was coming, they'd find a way to stop it. March 27th, 1973, the 45th Academy Awards, Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, Los Angeles. Sacheen Littlefeather arrived early. Security checked her name against the list. She was cleared as Brando's representative. They assumed she was there to accept on his behalf. She didn't correct them. Backstage, she could feel the energy of the ceremony. The biggest night in Hollywood. Stars everywhere. Makeup artists rushing. Producers checking schedules. The machine running smoothly. She held Brando's full 15-page statement in a leather folder. An Academy official saw it. "You're accepting for Mr. Brando?" "I'm representing him," she said. "You'll have 60 seconds at the microphone." "I understand." The official walked away, never asked what she planned to say, never questioned whether this was an acceptance or something else. The ceremony began. Awards presented, speeches delivered, everything running on schedule, professional, controlled, the way the Academy liked it. In the control room, producers monitored every moment. Multiple cameras, audio levels timed perfectly. This was live television. 80 million people watching. No room for error. Best Actor was scheduled for late in the ceremony, one of the major awards, big moment. They'd allocated extra time for applause, for the winner to reach the stage, for a proper speech. Liv Ullmann and Roger Moore walked out to present, the envelope in Moore's hand, the tension in the room building. Everyone knew Brando would win. The only question was whether he'd attend. Moore opened the envelope, looked at the card, smiled. And the winner is Marlon Brando, the Godfather. The audience erupted. Standing ovation, cameras panning across faces, Jack Nicholson clapping, Clint Eastwood nodding. This was the coronation everyone expected. Sacheen stood from her seat, started walking toward the stage. Cameras caught her movement. The audience kept applauding. She walked calmly, no rush, no hesitation. She reached the stage, climbed the steps. Ullman smiled at her, held out the Oscar statuette. Sacheen held up her hand, declined to take it. The gesture was small but clear. Ullman's smile faltered. She lowered the statue. Sacheen stepped to the microphone. The applause was still going. She waited. It died down, the room settling into expectation. "Hello, my name is Sacheen Littlefeather." In the control room, a producer leaned forward. "Who is that?" "Brando's representative," someone said. "I'm Apache, and I'm president of the National Native American Affirmative Image Committee." The tone in her voice was formal, official, not celebratory. Something about it made people in the audience shift in their seats. "I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you that he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award." The room went silent, complete silence. Then someone booed, then others joined. Heavy, sustained booing, but scattered through it, applause, some people standing. The room divided in real time. In the control room, chaos. 3 producers talking at once. "Kill the mic. We can't. Cut to commercial, now. It's the Best Actor award. We cut. We're the story." "How long has she been talking?" 20 seconds. "Let it play." "We let it play and she goes political. She's already political. Cutting makes it worse." One producer's hand hovered over the button. "Commercial break. End now." The director grabbed his wrist. "No, let her finish." On the monitors, Sacheen kept speaking, her voice steady despite the noise. "And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry." More boos, louder now, but she didn't stop. She continued through the statement, mentioning Wounded Knee, the stereotypes in Westerns, the exclusion of Native voices from their own stories. Every word Brando had chosen, every point he'd insisted mattered. The producers had told her 60 seconds. She went 90. They didn't cut her microphone. Cutting it would prove Brando's point about silencing Native voices. When she finished, She held up her hand again, a gesture of respect, or defiance, or both. Then she turned and walked off the stage. The boos continued. So did the applause. The room couldn't agree on what had just happened. Liv Ullmann stood there holding the Oscar, unsure what to do with it. Roger Moore gestured for the next presenters. The ceremony moved on, but the energy had changed. Something had broken. Backstage, Sacheen walked through a gauntlet of reactions. Some people wouldn't look at her. Others approached with support. One older actor muttered something she didn't catch, didn't need to. His face said enough. An Academy official intercepted her. That was not what we expected. Mr. Brando was very clear about his intentions. We'll need to discuss. She kept walking, out a side door, into the parking lot. She delivered what she came to deliver.
Inside, the ceremony continued. Awards presented, speeches made. But the smooth machine had stumbled. Everyone could feel it. The moment when control slipped, when someone used the platform the Academy provided to attack the Academy itself. In the control room, producers were already on phones, calling executives, explaining what happened, defending the decision not to cut the broadcast, preparing for the fallout they knew was coming. Marlon Brando watched from his home, the television still on. He'd seen Sacheen walk to the stage, heard the boos, watched her deliver every word they'd written. He turned off the TV. The statement had been made. The full 15 pages would go to the press tomorrow. Let Hollywood respond however it wanted. He'd used their stage, on their terms, with their cameras, and they'd had no choice but to broadcast it. The next morning, every newspaper led with it. Brando refuses Oscar. Native American activist rejects award on Brando's behalf. Oscar ceremony disrupted by political protest. The responses split predictably. Some praised Brando's courage, using his platform for something meaningful. Others called it disrespectful, self-righteous, attention-seeking. Talk shows debated it. Was this appropriate? Should the Oscars be political? What precedent did this set? Hollywood divided. Some actors publicly supported Brando. Others condemned him. Studios stayed cautiously neutral. He was too big to blacklist completely, too talented to ignore. But some doors quietly closed. Sacheen Littlefeather faced different consequences. Within a week, her agent dropped her. Auditions she had scheduled were canceled. Casting directors stopped returning calls. She'd known it would happen. Brando had warned her. But knowing and experiencing were different things. For the next 50 years, Hollywood shut her out. No roles, no opportunities. Blacklisted for the 60 seconds she'd spent on that stage. The Academy never acknowledged what they'd done to her, not publicly. For decades, they pretended the moment hadn't happened. The footage rarely shown, the speech rarely discussed. Until 2022, 49 years later, the Academy issued a formal apology to Sacheen Littlefeather, acknowledged the abuse she'd faced, the career they'd destroyed. The apology arrived decades late. The career never did. The 46th Academy Awards, March 1974, Dorothy Chandler Pavilion again, 1 year after Brando's refusal. The ceremony looked the same venue, same format, same speeches and awards and applause. But behind the scenes, everything had changed. Producers met weeks before the ceremony, discussing contingencies. What if someone else tried what Brando did? What if another winner used the stage politically? They implemented new protocols. All acceptance speeches would be monitored more closely. Producers were given authority to cut to commercial if necessary. The broadcast delay, already a few seconds, was discussed for extension. Could they make it 30 seconds? Enough time to kill a microphone? Winners were given tighter time limits, 90 seconds maximum, strictly enforced. Music would play them off if they went over. The control room added staff, more producers,
more people watching, more buttons ready to be pressed.
Backstage protocols tightened. Representatives had to be verified more carefully. Questions asked about what they planned to say. The assumption of goodwill replaced with caution. The ceremony went smoothly that year. No surprises, no protests, no disruptions. But the paranoia remained. Every ceremony after that carried the ghost of what Brando had done. The knowledge that the stage could be weaponized, that live television meant loss of control. The Academy never admitted publicly that they'd changed their procedures because of Brando. They framed it as improving the broadcast or respecting viewers' time. But everyone in the industry knew Brando had done something that couldn't be undone. He'd shown that Hollywood's biggest night wasn't as controlled as they'd thought, that their platform could be turned against them, that absence could be more powerful than presence. He never stepped on that stage, but the stage was never the same again.